Hey, welcome back.
Hi
Part
there.
2. We're here.
Method Actor Speaks Out, and I'm back here with a finalist who will be a member soon of the Actors Studio. I'm with Ford Austin, and I'm John Solari, your host of the Method Actor Speaks. Now, if you want to come on the show or you enjoy the show, there's over 100 of them on YouTube, so go there under my name, Solari, John Solari, S-O-L-A-R-I. Just think of the sun and head and eye. So we were talking in the end, 10 years of directing.
Yeah.
And we would, before we get into that, and we were talking earlier about casting. So I really liked your idea and how you go about casting today, when it's back then. How was your casting?
Well, you brought up Marion Doherty in the first half, and I think she's a keystone of the entire casting industry. If you want to see a great documentary about her, you can watch the movie Casting By.
I just watched it.
And it'll really give you an example of how she knew talent, she knew actors, and she took time to get to know them. And it wasn't just a workshop scenario or classes or any of that. It was a real relationship. It was almost like a family. And it was this wonderful townhouse in the Greenwich Village. And
well, it was a little more uptown. It wasn't around 31st Street or something.
Yeah. And she would basically go and see plays and go and see people's work. And if she couldn't, she had people who would do it for her.
Yeah, she was a big fan of the studio.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way that you should cast things, because otherwise there's no relationship, and the whole industry just kind of gets whitewashed and into a big land grab where people are coming in trying to get rich and famous, and they're not trying to work on being an artist and actually practicing a craft. So what I do when I cast people is sometimes I will write roles for actors. If they're friends of mine who are actors, I found out that you were incarcerated for a long time today, so anytime something like that comes up in my mind, you're going to be the first guy I go to.
Right.
And I also really love going and seeing plays, watching movies and finding out who the actor is, and reaching out personally. I do this thing called setting a meeting, where I literally try and figure out how to sit down and have a coffee with the person, or go and do something. Like I flew a kite with an actor once because I wanted to get to know them better. Nobody flies kites anymore, and I thought,
I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I thought, what a great thing to do. What just a wonderful way to sit there and see what naturally comes out. You have all this problem solving, trying to put a kite together, trying to get it up, kind of get a person's, their temperament, and then you can just kind of learn more about them. So that's what I do. I really try and learn more about the person before I get on set with them.
Do you have any relationships with casting directors? As I had, the one who my rabbi, you might call, was Joanna Ray. And she was married to the actor Aldo Ray. I don't know if you remember him. He's a great actor. But she, I can say one thing as an actor, and I'm so proud of it in a way. I auditioned for her many times. She knew my work. But I made her jump up and run and get me a glass of water. She thought I was in trouble.
That's great.
And I was trying to tell her, I wanted to sing.
That's really great.
And I think about that. I'm so proud of that moment. She went in a panic, ran to get me some water in the scene I was doing for her.
That's really wonderful. What's her name again?
Joanna Ray.
Joanna Ray. She's still casting now?
I believe she's still casting.
New York or LA?
No, LA. She's in West Hollywood. Wow. She's still there. She got me most of my work with David Lynch, and the last movie I did, The Black Dahlia, with Brian De Palma. She cast that. She does a lot of the big independent directors.
Yeah.
She's well known for that, and she's a gift. And she was like she loved my work, and she'd kill Bill in all those movies. She
sounds incredible.
She really is. But I'm so proud of that moment.
I have a couple of casting directors that I really like that are like that, where they're just very, it's almost like they're handcrafting beers versus making them in a factory like Budweiser. So one of them is Bonnie Gillespie, who does casting for all of the independent films, and she's really passionate, and she's also supportive and nurturing. So like, she loves to talk to actors. She loves to have a relationship with actors. Another one that I really like doing that is Amy Reese.
Sure.
Amy Reese, whose father is a member of the studio.
I had her on my
Bob
show.
Reese.
I had her on my show.
Amy's great. I just auditioned for her about a week ago, and basically after the second read, she said, "How did you feel? Do you like what you did? Did you feel good?" I think it was good. "Do you want to do another one?" "I think you're good." And this was after I was like, you know the way I work, you know kind of what I do. What's your opinion on it? And it was because she's familiar with the way I work.
Right.
So
you need those people out here.
Yeah, you want people that know your work. And a lot of people say that the way you do that is to do workshops. That's one step, I guess.
But technically they're illegal, you know.
Yeah, who's the guy that hates those?
There's a casting director,
Billy DeMotte hates them. And I tend to agree with them. I think that they're abused.
It's illegal. And the thing is, if you audition for one of those casting directors, the union says they can't hire you.
Yes, that's right.
I'm a delegate now. I'm running for you. When the next board, I'll be running again. But
oh, I want to do that with you.
I'm going to run.
Can I run in a different panel, or do we have to run in the same office?
We run the same thing. Anyone can run.
Let's talk about that.
Bonnie, God bless her. No, I want to. I met her at SAG. She came and talked about it, and I sent her a few emails. Actually, I sent her
one of these
of me doing the execution.
So Bonnie will see this. Hey.
I don't know.
Hey, hi Bonnie.
I don't know if she'll see it. I would like So
Bonnie Gillespie, Cricket Feet.
She likes Vimeo, and I put the shows on Vimeo too.
Oh yeah.
So they're on there, and I get her emails, but you know, she does mostly background work.
Oh, she does.
Bonnie Gillespie.
There's on the independent stuff, she'll cast the bigger roles.
Yeah, and there was another one, but there's. I just don't understand that they put these packages together.
Yeah.
So it's so difficult to get in to see these people. Even central casting, you call up, maybe there's 5 jobs. I don't know. If you want to work background, you got to pay these people, these other casting directors, so much a month.
Yeah. Well, not only that, people who do background, they have services now.
That's what I'm talking about. They pay them.
Oh, the services, yeah. The call-in service and a manager for background work.
Well, not a manager. They whatever they call, you pay them like $65, $75 a month, and they'll get you work. But that's wrong.
Well, how do you feel about independent film? Like,
I love that's the only thing that's
media
left.
contract that's $100 a day.
That's terrible. I mean, you know, I was so totally against the merger and all of that, and we've been sold out so long. And to me, there's a big conflict of interest when you have people that are making these deals on working actors. When you're dealing with somebody who's hiring you.
Yeah.
You know, like all of a sudden the president hasn't worked in 10 years. Now he's on every other show. You know what I mean? Why is this?
You know, there's a
and what is it? There's a channel on there now that all of a sudden we lost all the residuals. It's one of those old channels that plays the old things. I forgot the name.
Oh, like the TV Guide channel?
Well, not TV. Like I forgot. People know what I'm talking. And we lost the residuals on that. So we're always giving something away. And I know it's hard.
But it is the wrong person asked to give away things. Yeah. You know, they're always going after the actor. I mean, the actor.
The actor's at the totem pole.
Yeah, the actor's the bottom of the barrel.
I watch it, and I had to go see some student films, and I'm watching them, and they were so bad. They were so bad, and I would ask them, well, they pay all these people to do it, but they hire their friends who never acted to play the parts.
That's right.
Because people really believe anybody can act.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing. When I was as a member of the Actors Studio in New York, I would always allow the observers and finalists to come, and in New York, to be a working observer, I mean, they clean the toilets and everything to get so much time to come and watch.
I started as an observer at the studio.
Out here, not in New York.
Out here.
In New York.
But I go to New York, and I I was an observer there, but I didn't stay overnight there and
No,
clean toilets or anything.
well, they did that.
I
That's
was
what
the
they do.
observer here.
They do that. And what I'm saying is that I would always allow them to come into my rehearsals. I always let people come in to see my rehearsal when I rehearse at the studio.
How do you like to rehearse?
Most of the stuff I do myself. When I rehearse, I'm a funny guy. I like to learn. I don't want to. If we're doing a scene where I've never seen you before,
Yeah.
I don't want to see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to do a scene.
Yeah.
I don't want to rehearse with you.
Yeah.
I say, let's when we're doing.
I'll just do it. I'll do it.
Well, let's
I'll
do it.
see you for the first time.
And we just
That
do it.
it's definitely.
And sometimes it works. Sometimes I did a scene with Lydia Vitali, who came over from Italy, and she does a one-woman show in Anna Magnani, and we didn't. And I tried it that way, and it didn't work. It turned out to be really bad because she was playing that she hated me. I was a reporter, and she wouldn't give in to let me interview her, and it went. And then it got cut off halfway, which was my mistake. It was a disaster. Until it's there, I apologized to Lydia. She does Anna Magnani. She's in Rome now, where she comes from, which is, I don't know if you ever met her.
I didn't
at the
see her
studio.
yet. No.
She, brilliant actress. She does Anna. Oh, Anna, I felt, God, she was brilliant at it. Yeah.
Anna Magnani was great. Man.
She was. I mean, the sexiest woman ever lived. And Anthony Francioso told me that to my face. Anthony Quinn said it. Says the sexiest woman that they ever met. She just reeked of that thing. So we were talking about your acting now.
Yeah. What would you like?
Where
to
did you
know?
study in the beginning before you
So
came?
in the beginning, yeah, you kind of got off on a tangent.
We did,
How did I
we-
get into it? I got into it in Oklahoma City at Oklahoma City University. And the first acting class I ever took, the teacher went around the class and asked each of the students, who inspires you as an actor? Who do you want to be like? If you could pick anybody, what career would you want to have? And people were like saying Laurence Olivier, Meryl Streep, you know, Al Pacino. No, not even Al Pacino. All big theater icons from forever. And I said Jack Nicholson. And kid you not, my teacher said, Jack Nicholson, why would you say that? He doesn't even have an Oscar. And you know, of course we know he did have Oscars. Not only that, of course we know he was a very talented actor studio member. And I was too young and too naive, and obviously it was my first class I ever took, so I couldn't say anything. But I was chided through that whole class by people for choosing Jack Nicholson. And I had the last laugh because I got to do an episode of Saturday Night Live with Jack Nicholson.
Really?
In 1997. Him and Helen Hunt, when they were promoting that movie they did together.
Oh, yeah.
Good as it gets.
Right,
As
right.
good as it gets.
Didn't he really promoted her for an Oscar for that?
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't think she deserved it.
I think he might have won.
You know, she
But
won.
She won. I think they both won.
Yeah.
But so I studied acting there, and it was all based on this book out of Austin, Texas, University of Texas. I think it was written by Sam Cohen. It was just called Acting 1. It's a very simple thing to spark your imagination. This was an Acting 1 class. You know, you picture the person next to you as a corpse, you picture them as a baby, you picture them as this and that. It's all like imagination work. And then we read An Actor Prepares book from Stanislavski, and then did a lot of scene work. But then
Did you ever read
there was
this
this one day, I actually taught from this one at Temple University.
That's
I
the
taught
best
from
book
this
on
book
acting.
at Temple
Yeah,
University.
Me too. In Cleveland. The best book on acting you ever, even Salome says it.
Yeah, so I wound up graduating there and there used to be this thing called the URTAS, the University Resident Theater Association, where you would audition with 2 monologues for representatives from each graduate school or theater in the country. So when I did it, there were 300 people in a theater in Northwestern University's college campus in Chicago, Evanston, Illinois. And I did a monologue from Romeo and Juliet, the balcony scene, because I had just been doing the play. And I also did a scene from Homefront, and a monologue from Homefront. And I wound up getting 16 scholarships to schools around the country.
Really?
University of Washington, Temple, Purdue, Ohio State, Ohio University, University of Iowa, you know, the whole list. So I ended up choosing Temple University because it was near New York City, and I had to get out of the Midwest, and I felt that that was my best chance because I wanted to be a New York stage actor. So I went to Temple University and I studied from that book, and I took a 3-year master's program with Donna Snow, Kevin Cotter, who was from Uda's class in New York at the HB Studios. Donna Snow was from ACT in San Francisco, and Dougald MacArthur, who had studied with Jerzy Krutowski at Cal Arts and up north at Berkeley, and then Bob Headley from the University of Iowa, and Joe Leonardo, who was also a theater great. But the whole premise there was all Uta Hagen. All Uta Hagen. And then we would do styles of acting, you know, Mamet, Shepard, Williams, Moliere, Shakespeare throughout.
All the heavies.
Yeah, we had to take dance classes. I had to certify in rapier and dagger, hand-to-hand combat, and quarterstaff for stage fighting. And I wound up using that in about 4 shows in New York City. And I did 2 showcases, one in New York at the 42nd Street Theaters. Remember those?
Down at the end?
Yeah, down at the end. They're all gone now. They're replaced by the Signature Theater now.
Are you talking about
I was in the
Theater Row down there?
I was in the Theater Row Theater.
They're not there anymore?
I don't think so.
I've been in Manhattan for a while.
Yeah, right across the street from the Manhattan Plaza.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's Theater Row. Well, we also
The studio's like
Actors
4 blocks,
Studio
2
had
blocks
a
north.
free theater there.
Yes.
I remember, I think Lisa Richards did, her and her boyfriend did a play there.
Steve.
With,
Yeah.
yeah, Steve, another wonderful actor.
Yeah, great actor.
Arthur Penn used to direct it, who gave me the best advice as an actor. Him and Shelley Winters. He told me to break the rules. And she told me, Shelley Winters in her class, sit down, John, you're acting. You know, yeah. Which I thought was the greatest advice I could get as an actor.
So I could listen to those stories all day.
Oh, they were so...
So I mean, you know, I was at Temple University, and then I had to teach acting in the 3rd year in exchange for the free degree they gave me.
Well, really?
They gave me a full scholarship, and they paid us to live.
Wow.
And then, so we basically went there from 8 in the morning until 11 at night, and then we went out and drank beer, and then we got up and did it all again the next day. And when we did our showcase in New York, I got signed by Don Buchwald Agency right out of the showcase. And it basically was like the best thing that ever happened. I got all my union stuff through them the first year I was working, and it just was great. And then I moved into New York City, and I did a play with Ralph Waite and Lisa Richards, Death of a Salesman.
You played Biff, I imagine.
I played Happy. And
you were Happy?
And then I did...
So I played Biff.
And then I did a show called Lawyers at the Westport Country Playhouse, where I met my wife, who was an actress. And it was directed by John Barry, who was working with Billy Wilder on Double Indemnity, and Kevin Conway, who I'm not sure if he's a member.
Yeah, he is.
Kevin Conway was in it. Sam Freed,
Great actor.
Tom Ligon. Oh yeah.
But he was known, you know, he was...
Other people's money.
Well, he was drunk, but he ate so many years.
Kevin? Yeah.
Then he sobered up and he started to work all the time.
Yeah.
I think around the time, Pacino put him in the Looking for Richard.
Yes, yeah, exactly, right before we did the play.
Sobered his ass up, and, you know, because he was well known, and we all knew him in the village. I mean, in New York, had a Jimmy Ray's, which was a very famous bar that we all hung out in.
Jimmy Ray's is still there.
Well, that's his son across the street. The original was burnt down. That was
Doesn't everybody have a, everybody's got a tab there.
Yeah, and then we used to get a job, we go down to Joe Allen's. You know? Actually, I painted the bathroom in Joe Allen's. Right? We had some, those were great days.
Well, so after that, I did those plays, and then I did a soap opera called Another World before it went off the air. I went on Saturday Night Live one time. And then I went and did a couple of other plays in the city, and I just sort of was like, I gotta go out to LA. Because at that time, it was about 98, and it just, Tom Sizemore, a friend of mine from college, who's had a lot of problems, but, you know, God bless him, he's very talented. He came up to me and he said, you know, you gotta move to LA, it's where movies are made. It's where movies are made.
That's Tom Seymour.
And so I sort of heard that in my head ever since he said it, and then I went out there, moved to Los Angeles, and just basically got cast in a movie called Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett and Alec Baldwin and a couple of others, and played a Doolittle pilot in that. And then I started doing plays, and 9/11 happened, and I was fucking sitting on my couch going nuts, so I just started sending out resumes to theaters and went out and did, I joined the Actors Gang for a while, and then I did a show at the Tiffany, and then I did some plays at the City Garage in Santa Monica. And then I did a one-man show, a national tour of a one-man show that I booked, where it was me on stage for 90 minutes, 16 characters, called Male Intellect and Oxymoron. It was a comedy, it was a romantic comedy dating show. And I did that for about a year and a half, and then I came back to LA and I started directing. And I directed a drama, short drama that was really terrible. And then I directed a sci-fi series that got a lot of good feedback and played a couple of festivals and won some awards. And then I just started building from there. And I wound up going down the path of directing movies. And I wrote and directed this series with a partner, Scott Ingalls, called The Right Stuff, which was about the Wright brothers. We made it as if it was like taken out of a film vault from 1904.
Oh.
And the Wright brothers were using their plane to fight crime and evil. Teddy Roosevelt, played by Ethan Phillips, was sending them out on missions. They were fighting all sorts of people like Dr. Fu Manchu and evil Spaniards, because it was about the time of the Spanish-American War. And that really led to a lot of stuff. Like I won a lot of festivals with that. And then I made another film about a ballerina called Tiny Dancer that really did well for me, where I just helped out this girl, and we shot at the Universal backlot, and the Balanchine estate choreographed it. And it was, I made this girl who was 14 years old into a 65-year-old woman, and we took photos of her grandmother and then used those as a reference to age her to a 65-year-old dancer.
Wow.
And that was my first directorial movie to qualify for the Live Action Short Academy Awards.
Listening to you, directing is really, it seems like it's your forte, what you really care about more.
Well, it's not really, because I did it out of necessity because I was frustrated as an actor.
Really?
And that's one of the things that I've been thinking about. Why did I direct so many movies? After that I directed a bunch of horror films for a company that was paying me to direct movies, and that was wonderful because I was making a living as a director. But really, why did I become a director? I think it was because I had a couple of years that I did not have any work as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And then these jobs came along, so I was like, oh, I'll just take this directing job and I'll do this for a while. And I was good enough at it that I kept on getting jobs. However, the main thing that I had to remember, and only the accident could teach me this, John, is at my core, I'm an actor.
Yes.
That's why I was able to direct so well. Because I was able to talk to actors as an actor.
As an actor, yes.
Instead of give you a line reading about your line or tell you blocking.
Like Lou Antonio.
Yeah.
Who
I have asked every day after the director's unit at the studio, I say, please teach me directing. And he goes, well, just sign up for it. And I'm like, well, I'm a working finalist. He goes, you got to finish that track and then you'll do it. So just get into the studio.
But he's directed
over 3,000 hours of TV.
Yeah.
He directed Private Lives on Broadway with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Very, very talented. His classes are one of the best over there.
Yeah.
You know, you really learn a lot about, he's more directorial and people don't realize, I mean, they realize that. But he's really, really, he's a gift. Him and Salome Jens, they're two gifts. And there's a lot of people over there that know the work, but You're right. Good directors usually come from acting.
Yeah.
Unless you get someone like, David Lynch, who I work for, who
He's in a whole world of his own.
You don't even audition for him.
How do you get into his movies?
Well, Joanna Ray was the casting director. He just looks at pictures. And he takes it for granted that you can act. And, Joanna's not going to...
Send him my picture.
Joanna sent it to Joanna Ray.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he does.
I produced a movie at the time of my accident called Showgirls 2.
Well, she did the first Showgirls.
Yeah.
Joanna Ray was the casting director.
So,
and she called me up. I was going down, and she called me back and said they just gave the part to Robert Davi. The owner.
Yeah.
I was up.
I love Robert Davi.
She had me up for that part too.
Robert's a really great singer too.
Yeah, it's not true.
He's got a great Sinatra. He's but the thing about the Showgirls 2 is David saw it. And he said it was a good movie.
I wonder if she cast it.
She didn't. Oh. I know, because Rena Riffle, who was in Showgirls 1, and a lot of David's work, Mulholland Drive and a couple of other things, she directed it for me. And I know that we handpicked everybody that we put in the movie.
Because, look up Joanna Ray. Well, listen, we're going to be...
Call Joanna Ray. Joanna Ray, if you're watching this, call me. Call me. Just call me.
Do you have a website or anything like that?
I do. It's actorfordaustin.com. It's under construction. And I also have fordaustinproductions.com. And please find me on IMDb.
Or Facebook.
Follow me on Twitter. Send me an email at angrybabymonkey@mac.com.
Angry Baby?
Angry Baby Monkey.
How did you come up with that one?
As I was being driven to the airport to go and shoot Pearl Harbor, a friend of mine who was driving me leaned out of the window and started yelling, hey, stop it! Well, you don't get a blinker! And I just thought he looked just like an angry baby monkey. And I said it, and that's the time I was looking for a production company. So that's one of my production companies is Angry Baby Monkey Pictures. We've produced about 13 features so far, and we've got more in development.
Do you use your bride?
No, my wife is she was a television producer who created The Doctors and won an Emmy for that.
You want to say who she is?
Her name is Lori Dash, the amazing Lori Dash, who's now a development producer for ABC.
I thought you said she was an actress earlier.
She started as an actress, and the last thing she ever did as an actor was Lawyers with Ford Austin and Kevin Conway.
Oh, okay.
And
she went to the other side, the safe side.
She became a producer. I dragged her to Los Angeles.
Now that's an interesting job, producer.
Yeah.
That's a rough business, bro.
It's a muscle that people have. Like and I'm surprised. I would think that more actors would be able to do it because we have to produce our careers all the time. We have to come up with fucking headshots and resumes, and we have to go out and do stuff. It's like you're really producing a business when you're an actor.
Most actors, it's a great place to hide. Shy people. I know I avoid the limelight as much as possible.
Yeah.
I do. When I was going out with Tina Louise, we used to go on, she would take me everywhere. But I would always try to get away from the camera. I'm funny.
You're right on the camera right
now,
now, John.
I know, but I'm saying, a lot of times I'm on the other side. I'm not one of those guys that I care about the camera. Even when I'm on the set, I don't see the camera. I just block it out. And there was a few times I was in Charles Bronson movie. No, it was Ruby with Danny Aiello, where I killed Kennedy from behind the nose. But I remember walking, and I would just walk right out of the lens. I forget it's there. I'm not aware of the camera, and I'm not fond of it.
That's a good habit. That's a good habit for actors to have.
Yeah, it is. I'm blessed. It's a blessing that I'm not aware of the camera. Or when I focus, I don't see anything but what I'm doing. I don't see the crew. When I had to go up the stairs and Messenger of Death and kill all the kids with Chuck Dierka, and I didn't see anybody. I didn't see nothing but those steps, and it's just weird.
Wow. It's almost poetic.
When I do my work, it's that way. If I don't remember it, I know I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like being on stage.
Yeah.
What did you do? I have no idea.